I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love.
What's happening, everybody? It's your big homie, the Armchair Operator, and welcome to today's video. Now, if you saw by the thumbnail, we are going to be doing a first shots and tabletop review of the SIG P226 X Five Classic. Now, before we get into all that, first of all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Pull up a chair, put your feet up, stay. I hope you stay a while, and ultimately, I hope you enjoy today's program. Now, if you've been to the channel before, thank you so much for coming back. You all have no idea how much it means to me, how much it means to the channel. There's just the simple fact of you all deciding to take the time to watch these videos. So thank you so much for that. Now, second order of business is I gotta give a huge shout out to my main FFL of choice. And here we are, the Bunker Gun Shop. Now, I actually picked this particular firearm up from the Bunker Gun Shop maybe about 2 weeks ago now. Wait a minute. Maybe about a week ago. Anyway, it wasn't that long. But definitely a huge shout out to that entire crew over there. They have 2 locations serving the greater Philadelphia area. They also ship to out-of-state FFLs as well. So chances are, if there's something that you're looking for, they have it in stock. And if they don't have it, they can get it. I mean, anything from Atlases to Staccatos to Nighthawks to Alien Pistols, all the way down to Tauruses and Springfield Armies, M&Ps, whatever. But anyway, hit them up. This is their contact information right here. Pause the video, take a screenshot, head on over to them, and, you know, they'll take care of you. So, I got about 2 range sessions under my belt with the X5, and usually what I'll do is I might do like maybe about 100 rounds or 150 rounds as just kind of like initial impressions and give my thoughts. But I got a little bit more under my belt with this particular gun, and there's a reason for that. But first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick tabletop review, just go over the features and the different accessories. You know, like y'all know how I usually do it. You know what I mean? I just do like a little video show and tell before I get into the nitty gritty of how it handled for me on the range. So without further ado, let's head on over to the table and check out the X5. All right, y'all, here we are at the tabletop review, and we are taking a look at the SIG P226 X5 Classic. Now, first things first, this is no ordinary SIG, number one. And you could tell that by the fact that it comes in a special case and it got custom works written all on the front of the case. Now, it looks like a standard SIG Sauer case that, you know, most people are familiar with. But this particular one takes it up a notch. And as you can see, they actually went as far as putting a combination lock on the front of the case, which by the way does work, and there are instructions inside of the case in order to set the combination. So that's just something that you can do if you want to do it, but we ain't here to look at the case, we're here to open up the case. So to do so, we just push those buttons aside and they flip up like so. All right, so let's take a look at the main attraction, the star of the show, the X5. Now, first and foremost, y'all know what I like to do first. We gotta be safe. Safety is priority one. So we're gonna check the firearm and verify clear. As you can see, the chamber is empty. The The magazine is empty and this firearm is clear. And as always, we are filming in a safe and controlled environment. There is no live ammunition anywhere in my review space. So let's talk about the X5. So, as you can see, this is no ordinary SIG P226, right? This is basically the P226 taken up to probably the highest that you could probably take it. This particular gun is meant for competition, and it feels and handles like a race gun. I mean, to be perfectly honest. Now, there are some, even though this is a 226, there are some differences between this and a standard 226. The biggest difference, obviously, is the action type. Now, this particular firearm is single action only, whereas a standard 226 is double action, single action. So this is for those you don't know. You know, single action only is basically those type of guns that you carry cocked and locked. As you see, the hammer is cocked all the way back and the safety is engaged, so the trigger is locked. Whereas double action only, this would probably, I mean, I believe they do have safeties, but they also have decockers and, you know, all that different type of stuff. But anyway, that's one of the biggest difference between this and a standard 226. Outside of course, obviously the look, the weight of the gun, the type of sights, and so on and so forth. But anyway, let's focus on the X5. And let's start at the top, because y'all know I like to start at the top. Let's talk about the sights. So the sights, we basically have your blacked out rear sight and your fiber optic green sight up in the front, as you can see there. This rear sight is adjustable for both windage and elevation. So you got your windage adjustment right there. That screw on the, oh, I'm sorry, the screw on the top is actually, yeah, left and right, yep, windage. And elevation screw is right there. Now, this particular pistol is optics ready. Now, one downside to the pistol is that in order to mount an optic, you have to lose your rear sights, because this is all one plate right here. But there are, I believe SIG is making different plates for the 226 X Five that can allow for a co-witness with a red dot. But I know a lot of people, especially in the competition world, basically just choose to run an iron sight. So that may be something that interests you. It may not be. Personally, I just plan on running the irons for right now, at least for a while. But if I do mount an optic on there, I might as well. I will more than likely just not worry about the rear sight. But we'll see. Right now, I'm enjoying the iron sight, so that's there. Moving down from there, we basically have a 5-inch barrel here. This is a match grade bull barrel. And I believe, no, that doesn't look like a crown in the front there. But it is definitely a match grade barrel for sure. Let's drop this. So we have, you know, front and rear slide serrations, Picatinny rail on the bottom. Now, one thing that really stands out to me about the X5 Classic is the wood grips. Now, for those of you who don't know, there are actually different iterations of the X5. Like, you have the X5 Classic. You also have the X5 version that has a slightly shorter 4.4-inch barrel, but it has a full-length slide, and they're actually ports milled into the slide. And I believe that model also has a gas pedal right here in the place of the takedown lever. And there's also a 226 with a Legion gray color that's basically just like this, 5-inch slide and barrel with the gas pedal. And I believe they come with the rubberized hood grips instead of the wood panel grips. So me personally, I wanted to go with the classic look. You know, I can be a little bit of bougie sometimes. So no, I'm just kidding. But seriously, I just really like the look and the feel of this particular gun. Now, even though you do have the wood grips with this particular model, there's a decent amount of grip texture on the grip. I won't say it's overly grippy, but it's pretty good. And you also got your checkering on the front of the grip. And of course, you know, you got the texture back here. And, you know, the gun really feels good in hand. I would say from an ergonomic standpoint, one thing that kind of gets me is right here under the trigger guard. Because as I'm holding it, you know, you see that knuckle kind of contacts the trigger guard a bit. Like, it kind of, I won't say it digs into it, but it rubs it a little bit. It's not the end of the world. It's not really a big deal. Certainly not as bad as, say, a Glock trigger guard or maybe even a Beretta trigger guard. Even though I love Beretta, sometimes that trigger guard kind of gets me a little bit. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. But anyway, moving on from there. What else we got here? We have our slide stop here. Now, the slide stop is not ambi. It's just on this particular side. And some people do not like the location of this slide stop. Me personally, it's not a big deal, and I'll show you why. So first of all, now granted, okay, There's not a whole lot of space between the slide stop and the not the magazine release. I'm sorry, and the safety. So essentially, all you really do, first of all, let me just drop this down. We already verified it's clear. So let's say you're on the range and you're running the pistol and you do a reload. You know, you have it, boom, you drop it, you get your new reload, and all you really got to do is grab it with your support hand thumb, and you're back in business. So it's really not a big deal. It's just one of those things that you can just basically work through with practice. So it's cool. Now you do have ambidextrous safeties. As you can see, you got the safety over here and the safety over here. One thing I really do like about the safeties on this particular pistol is that you see how you got this contour here on the back. Now a lot of times with your 1911s and 2011s, they don't always bevel this in to kind of give you that natural curve, and sometimes they have a habit of digging into the web of my hand when I'm holding the pistol and when I'm shooting. But with the X5, I don't have that problem. Like, I can grab the safety, I can ride the safety all day long, and it just feels nice and comfortable in my hand. So that's just something that I really like. Now let's talk about this trigger. Now this trigger is something else. So as you can see right here, right? This little, I guess you would call it, this essentially is an adjustment point. So you could adjust the length of pull of the trigger itself, and you can also adjust the poundage of the trigger. So that's one thing that I thought was actually pretty interesting. I believe I actually have to look at the manual to know exactly which does what. And that's kind of another criticism that I kind of have. It's not about the pistol itself. It's just the fact that you have to download the manual now. Again, I get it. I'm a little behind the times. A lot of companies are not giving you the actual physical manuals anymore. And yes, the PDFs are available online, but I'm kind of old school in that sense where I don't really feel like looking at, I don't know how many dozens of pages of PDFs to actually get to a particular part that I want to look at, like to actually read up more on stuff like that, you know. But that's just a me thing, but I'm just putting it out there. But it's not the end of the world. I can always go to SIG and get a physical manual, so that they do have that option. But anyway, the point of the matter is the trigger is adjustable for not only both the pull weight but the length of pull. Now I have not adjusted this trigger at all, and so far on my trigger gauge is coming in consistently at right around 3 to 3.5 pounds, which is pretty good, and it feels exactly like that on the range too. But speaking of, let's ghost that trigger real quick. So we're gonna, again, we verify clear. All right, so don't take my word for it. Now watch. That actually caught me by surprise, y'all. That's how light the trigger is. So it's not a whole lot of take up though, and that's my point. Like, there's not a whole lot of take up. That's it. That's all the take up. And that's the drop, right? That's the break and the reset. That's it. Like, that's all you get. Now, a true 2011 snob will think that that reset is kind of long. And, you know, I could see that. But for a 2011, like, I mean, honestly, for most pistols, that is not a long reset whatsoever. It's kind of hard. It's not really fair to judge it to that of a 2011, 1911. But the point of the matter is this particular gun has an outstanding trigger, bar none. And moving on from there, we have, of course, these grip panels are replaceable, and there are different grip panel options available for the X5. You know, I mean, if I wanted to get some of the SIG hub grips, I could easily swap these out with no problem, just removing these screws here on either side and just popping it off and popping a new one in. Personally, I don't plan on doing that because, like I said, I have the look. But, I mean, you never know. It's an option, and you know, you could choose to exercise that option if you like. Bringing us down to the magazine well. Now this magazine well is actually removable, but to get this mag well off, you have to remove the actual grip panels first in order to get it off. But it is removable. And the pistol actually comes with 320 round magazines. And these magazines are made by Metgar. I only have 2 with me right now. The other one is actually secured in my safe at the moment. But it comes with 3 20-round 226 magazines. Now, I do have to make a correction in a correction on a statement that I made during my unboxing video. Now, these magazines are made by Metgar, and they are similar to the rival magazines, the Canik rival magazines, but they're not the same. So I just want to clarify that really quickly. I mean, I could get the magazine of the seat in the gun, but it's put it like this: they're not cross compatible. Point blank. Period. They're not. So if you want to buy extra mags for this, you're basically going to have to source 226 magazines. Now, I am not 100% sure, but I believe it is possible to use a standard 226 18-round magazine, the one with the standard base plate, and seat it in this particular pistol. I just think that it'll just probably sit flush up under here. But I haven't tested that out for myself, so I'm not 100% certain on that. But I have seen reviews where people have done it. But like I said, that's basically something that you're going to have to research on your own, as well as myself, to see just how effective that will be. But I'm reasonably sure that they will work. And I mean, other than that, we just basically have our usual stuff that comes with the particular pistol. We got the SIG challenge coin right here, Custom Works challenge coin, and all of our things and stuffs and accoutrements up here. Oh, look at that. More goodies from Bunker. I'm trying to tell y'all, they'll get you right. They'll get you right. Definitely hit them up. But that's essentially it for the tabletop review. Oh, one last thing, in case you didn't know, the SIG pistols, as far as the optics go, so the optics footprint that comes on the SIG P226, as well as their 320s and so on and so forth, is the Delta Point footprint. So you figure your Leupold Delta Point Pro or your SIG Romeo 1 Pro optics will fit on this slide without the need of an adapter plate. So the same applies to the 226 X Five. So I just wanted to put that out there in case anybody was curious. Now, field stripping the pistol is actually pretty simple, but to comply with YouTube guidelines, I will do that really quickly, and I will be right back. And we're back. And as you can see, this gun is field stripped. So taking this particular gun down is actually really simple. It's the same as any SIG P320, basically with the rotating takedown lever design. It takes down the same way. Now, what is interesting and what is different between this and, say, a standard 320 or even my DH3, for example, is the recoil system. So this actually uses 2 recoil springs. You got the main spring in the front, and then you got this recoil spring here in the back. And this guide rod, it is a metal guide rod. I don't know if it's tungsten, but it is a metal guide rod, which I would expect nothing less from a handgun of this type and price point, mind you. So we have that. And also here are the screws here for the rear sight plate. So if you wanted to take this plate off and mount your optic, you would have to partially field strip the pistol to get at these screws and remove it. So anybody who's familiar with the SIG M17 or the M18, it's basically the same as that. You have to do kind of the same thing in order to get the rear sight plate off. It's pretty much the same way with the 226 X Five here. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward from that. You know, you want to break the pistol down in order to clean and maintain it. You know, it's simple. You know, clean it up, drop a little lube in the frame rails and so on and so forth, and you're good to go. And this is the frame of the gun. It's a really stout frame. This is a really solid frame. Like, this is solid. And the frame rails actually run the full length of the slide, which I think is pretty interesting. But all in all, that's basically it. I'm not going to go too far into detail about this particular portion because, like I said, I don't want to keep y'all forever. So what we're going to do is we're going to take another quick break. I'm going to reassemble the pistol, and I'm basically just going to talk to y'all about my experiences on the range. So hold that thought. I'll be right back. All right, y'all. Now, as far as my range experience goes, let me just say first and foremost that this gun feels really good to shoot. And I attribute a lot of that not only to the ergonomics, but also to the heft of the gun. Now, it has an unloaded weight of about 46.42 ounces. So she's a hefty girl. And you add a fully loaded 20-round magazine, and she's tipping the scales at almost 50 ounces. So couple that with the recoil system and the fact that you're shooting basically a 9mm, oh man, the recoil it's really soft. Now, with all that being said, mind you, at the end of the day, it's also a SIG. It's a SIG Sauer, so everybody named Mama that's familiar with SIGs know that it has a high bore axis. So if you're used to flatter shooting pistols such as like your 1911s or 2011s or something like that, or maybe something like a CZ Shadow 2 or a particular gun like that, you're going to notice the difference as you're running the 226 X Five. Now, even with that, it's not a harsh recoil at all, and the return to zero is actually pretty damn good, if I mind you. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with just the way that they built the frame of the gun. You know, it might be 46 ounces, but it's a very balanced 46 ounces. So, and a lot of times when you're talking about, like, for example, like a standard P320, it feels kind of flippy in the hand because you got that high bore axis, is torquing, right? But you really don't have a lot of that with the 226 X5, at least in my opinion. Because as I was running that particular gun, the return to zero was just on the money every single time. Now, what I have noticed, at least for me, my shot placement was a little bit high with the X5. And I think that basically just come down to my holds. You know how to, like the saying goes, equal height, equal light, or as far as sight alignment goes. And that's basically what I was doing. Now, granted, I could have adjusted the rear sight down just a little bit to kind of compensate for that. I haven't done that, but that is something that I could do if I wanted to do it. But I just wanted to get used to the pistol as it is as soon as it comes out of the box. I do that with every single gun I buy because I gotta have that baseline of comparison before I start changing stuff. Like, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to start tweaking and changing stuff with a gun that you're really not familiar with. So, but that's just my logic. You know, do with that information what you will. But anyway, like I said, the return to zero is really good, and being able to ride that safety also really helps to keep the gun flat. Now, there are some models that have the gas pedal. I believe it's the 226 X5 Legions. They have the gas pedal. And I think, but this particular model would benefit from having a gas pedal. But again, I purposely went with the classic. I say all that to say, if you have a 226 X5 Legion with the gas pedal, or maybe even the integrated cop, your shooting experience will be a bit different from mine. And I would probably go as far as to say it probably will be softer shooting because you have those extra tools to help keep the gun flatter. But even without those tools, as is, this particular gun is pretty damn flat. So I just want to show y'all real quick. This particular gun shoots pretty damn flat as it stands now. So, I mean, just those particular upgrades will probably just make it all the more better, you know what I mean? But so far, I have maybe about 300-ish rounds. I haven't really tallied up my round counts. I know I did about 224 my first range day, and I did like maybe about 150 my most recent range trip. Now, why I have that many rounds through the gun at this particular moment in time, frankly, it's fun to shoot. I mean, sometimes when you get a pistol that, first of all, I was excited to get this pistol for a minute, and I was finally able to get it. and it just shot so well. You just don't want the party to stop. Like, you're just going and going and going, and after a while you gotta be like, whoa, champ, like, slow down. Ammo was not free, you know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody giving me ammo for free. Like, so, but anyway, you can rest assured that I will be doing a 1,000-round follow-up for this particular gun. I mean, I'm about a third of the way there already, but it's going to be a little while before I get to that 1,000 rounds. So, you know, definitely stay tuned to the channel for that. It is definitely coming. And also, out of all the rounds that I've put down range in this pistol so far, no issues whatsoever. Not so much a hiccup, a burp, nothing. No fails to feed, stovepipes, failure to eject, nothing. The gun has ran flawlessly. And as far as the loads that I've put through it, so far they've just been full metal jacket loads. I put some 115 grain mag techs, and I've put through it some 124 grain blazer brass and some ammo ink through it. And it basically ate it all. It ate everything I put through it. And I don't really anticipate any problems, but you know, you never know. I evaluate each particular gun according to, you know, not only my experiences, but sometimes with other experiences of others as well. So, because it all matters. But at least for right now, for an initial first shot, it's been pretty damn reliable. And I'm looking forward to getting to the 1,000-round mark with this gun. So, but anyway, I'm going to end it there. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's video. And if y'all enjoyed the video, definitely let your boy know by smashing that like button. Hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so that way you can be notified when I drop content. Now, I know YouTube does some funky, weird things sometimes, you know what I mean, where they just be unsubscribing people at random. So if you're not getting notified of my videos, check your subscription status and make sure you're subscribed. I know me personally, you know, there are other channels that I follow and so on and so forth. I had to resubscribe again. I don't know why YouTube does that kind of foolishness. It's just goofy, whatever the case may be. But anyway, just keep an eye on that. And definitely follow your big homie. I got more content coming. I got more content with the X5 coming. I got versus videos that I'm going to be doing. I got some good things planned for y'all coming up this year. So, but anyway, thank you all so much for watching. This is your big homie, and I'm out. Peace.